Feast your eyes on this. Huh? Stronger with You Powerfully, the new one from Emporio Armani. Because if there's one fragrance line that just wasn't strong enough and needed more power, it was clearly this one. I mean, with stuff like Intensely and Absolutely and Parfum, I mean, what do those things last? Like 12 hours, 16 hours? Pathetic. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Yes, today, talking the new Stronger With You Powerfully. So I bought this one from Europe. I'll have it linked in the description, though the website that I bought it from is showing out of stock right this minute. It's possible it gets back in stock by the time this goes live. I have no clue, but they got it to me fast, man. They got this to me in like 5 days or something. I can get this from Europe faster than I can get something ordered from Macy's sometimes. How does that work? So yeah, this is the newest Stronger With You, and the big thing about this one, at least when it was first announced to me and to a lot of you guys out there, cherry. It has cherry as a top note, and it's promised to be, from the brand, the strongest one yet. I don't remember exactly, but I feel like they said it lasts 24 hours or something like that. I need to look that up. Yeah. Powerful new level of intensity for up to 24 hours of long lastingness. Let's go ahead and start off by taking a look at this presentation. First, the box. On the front, you have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size, and concentration. It is an eau de parfum. So not a parfum, not an extrait, just a straight up EDP. You've got the Armani logo up top. On one side of the box, you have a little QR code. On the back, you have your ingredient information. And then on the bottom, you have a QR code once again and batch code. And I am realizing now that on the back of the box, it says Europe only. And that batch code is 38Z001C. And here we've got the bottle, your typical Stronger With You styling. It has the name of the fragrance, name of the house right there on the front. And even the fragrance coloration is a little bit cherry tinged with this one. On the bottom, sticker with your badge code. The cap does click into place. And it also has a little Emporio Armani logo on the inside of the cap. You know what time it is. Time to share some sprays. Let's do it. Nice. And lots more to talk about, guys, but first, an update on the codes. A new code for FragFlex, Gents10, 10% off the website. You can use that code as many times as you want. So if you shop at FragFlex, use that code Gents10, save yourself 10% off your order. And then also got codes for Beauty House, the Perfume Box, JOMASHOP, and many more stores. So when you shop at those stores, use those codes, save yourself some extra cash. Now, I've had a pretty good run at the beginning of the year. Most of the new fragrances that have come out, I've really enjoyed. Even the new Phantom in red. So I gotta say, the interest in the Phantom line is like subterranean at this point. A lot of people do not care anymore about that. Rest in peace, robot friend. I think you're probably not that much longer for this world. But will that continue with this? So Powerfully opens up with cherry, but not as much as you were probably expecting. Because see, when this was first announced, I was expecting a cherry bomb, something that just grabs attention, snaps necks immediately. The type of cherry that's just grabs attention, that's ostentatious, that's bold. Because that's what you would expect from Stronger With You. It's already a powerful fragrance, and they're telling you this one's gonna last 24 hours, and they're throwing cherry as the top note, and they're putting it in all the advertising. So you're thinking to yourself, this is gonna be trouble. Instead, it is, honestly, a pretty light cherry note off the top. A little bit tart, sweet. It smells good, but it also is kind of hand in hand with that mandarin orange as well. So you have the more typical Stronger With You light citrus in the opening that some of the other fragrances in the line make use of, and basically a little squirt of cherry juice put in there too. Just a little, there you go. Oh, you wanted a lot of cherry. Oh yeah, we're not doing that. But just because the cherry doesn't slap you in the face right off the top doesn't automatically mean the fragrance is bad. Alongside that citrus and cherry, you get the instantly recognizable Stronger With You DNA. Spicy chestnut with a little bit of a clean lavender. And compared to Stronger With You Intensely, it does come across differently off the top. Stronger With You Intensely is gonna be more aromatic. It has this fresh, spicy pop that kind of rides the sweetness underneath, does Stronger With You Intensely. Powerfully, right off the rip, does feel deeper. It feels heavier when you compare it side by side. Less lively and biting, more warm and dense. And then within minutes of the opening, you get the familiar woody aspects that come out of this fragrance as well. Now, I don't think it officially has, amber wood or woody notes in the note breakdown, but it's definitely there. You also have vanilla that starts to pop out, and it helps sweeten everything up and helps, set the edge. It gives some smoothness to the fragrance. It sweetens up the chestnut, it sweetens up the woody aspects, the spices, everything. But it's not at all a syrupy, heavy vanilla. Compared to a lot of the other fragrances out right now that are very vanilla forward, the vanilla is here in this one, but instead of trying to be the star of the show, it's more so just trying to improve the other notes there. So it's not overwhelming, it's not headache inducing, it's not cloying, it's not, like I said, syrupy. And it's much better the way that it's used here, trust me. And the way the vanilla is used here is proper for this fragrance. If they did go with the heavier, syrupy, overdone, overwrought vanilla, then it would be a little bit too much. And the fragrance's name, Powerfully? Yeah, it opens up powerfully for sure. The first time I sprayed this bottle, I was in the kitchen, did one spray. Like 3 minutes later, my wife came in the front door and she smelled it immediately. And that was a pretty big distance for one spray to be filling up. So like I said, she clocked it as soon as she came in the door. She said, whatever you sprayed smells amazing. And it was this. So Powerfully, yes, yeah, it is. So that part of the advertising is true. It is powerful. But the cherry, I mentioned it before, that it wasn't that big when you first spray the fragrance on. Yeah, in my mind, that was the defining part of what this flanker was going to be, right? That was front and center. You look at the picture of the bottle and it's right next to a cherry in the media photos I'm talking about. But that note that was supposed to define this fragrance ends up defining nothing. It's there briefly in the opening and then it fades into the background. And the only way you can smell it at that point is if you go sniffing for it. If you dig your nose into your arm or wherever you sprayed the fragrance and you start trying to find the cherry, which is not something normal people do. Let's find the note in the fragrance. Oh, there it is. Don't do that. People won't think that's normal. And even then, when you go trying to find it, it's underneath everything else. It's underneath the spices, underneath the chestnut, underneath the woody aspects, underneath the vanilla. It's even underneath the lavender. So unfortunately, if you were hoping that cherry in the opening was gonna make a statement, you'll probably be disappointed. Another fragrance that came out here recently, Scandal Elixir, that one also has cherry off the top, interestingly enough. And that is this one right here. And when I reviewed this fragrance, I said, the cherry probably could have been pushed further and it would have been more interesting. But smelling this side by side with this, the cherry is more noticeable here. So if I said the cherry should have been pushed further here and it's more noticeable than in this one, yeah. But how does it smell into the mid? So into the mid, Stronger With You Powerfully settles into familiar Stronger With You territory. It has that warm chestnut note in this one. It comes across lightly toasted, so it still has that nice sweet aspect to it, but it's got this faint, almost semi-smoky warmth to it. It's cozy, it's comforting, it smells sexy, super appealing. The vanilla is still there as well. It's sweet, it's smooth, it's like a soft filler that kind of goes in between the other notes and makes sure everything is playing together nicely. It does have a cinnamon forward spice blend. It's more like a glow of spice, if that makes sense. It's not bracing, it's not sharp, it's not peppery. It's just a really nice spice blend that sits inside of the sweetness of the scent. And one of the best compliments that you can give Powerfully is the smoothness of the blend of the fragrance. When you wear this side by side with Intensely, even side by side with Absolutely, this one does just feel smoother around the edges. Even though it's strong, even though it's projecting, it doesn't have anything that aggressively tickles the nose hairs. It doesn't have those aspects where you smell it and go, oof, it's a bit much. Really well blended, really well done from opening through the mid, even into the dry down. Another thing that happens into the mid is that fruity aspect changes as well. So in the opening, even as the cherry steps back, if you dig around for it, you can still get that cherry nuance. Into the mid, it kind of just becomes a general fruity sweetness. So it's not as immediately identifiable as cherry, as mandarin, as citrus in general. It just becomes like a fruity sweetness that lurks underneath the other notes. It kind of slowly tapers off. It also doesn't really have that sparkle, that zinginess through the mid that you might get in the opening with this one or some of the other fragrances, so that also kind of dials back. But the performance, the projection, it's still there. And then in the far dry down, that fruity aspect, it fades completely away. At that point, it becomes a blend of the warm chestnut with that slight toasted edge, a dry woodiness, and then the vanilla. It's really smooth. It smells more adult, more grown up compared to Intensely. I would say kind of on par with Absolutely, probably, just in terms of it not coming across quite as youthful. You know, it's still easily worn by younger guys, but it doesn't feel like it's bashing you over the head with, you know, sugar on top of sugar on top of sugar. There's decent sweetness here, don't get me wrong, it's just not the same way as Intensely is gonna hit you. Now, I mentioned this a couple times, but the performance, it's there. It performs, it projects, it lasts. As an example here, I sprayed it on my hand right here. As of right now, about 10 hours ago. I have showered since then. I can still smell it. Now, it's not projecting like a monster, but if I do this, I can smell it. Would I say 24-hour projection? No, not really. Would I say it sticks around an eternity compared to most other fragrances out there? Oh yeah. Is it stronger than the modern iteration of Stronger With You Intensely? Yes, because I sprayed Intensely on at the same time, and this is still going much stronger than this. To be fair though, I have not done a side-by-side with this and all the other Stronger With You, so you know, I can't sit here and say, oh yeah, it does outperform Stronger With You Oud by this much and Stronger With You Leather by this much, but it is powerful. So if you were for some reason worried that Emporio Armani was going to put out a Stronger With You that they were pitching as the strongest one, and then somehow they pull 180 and it's the weakest one, that did not happen. It is strong. And in terms of seasonality for me, fall, winter, daytime or evening. I would not wear this in spring, maybe like really early spring if it's still cold outside, but past that, no, and summer, for sure no. Unless you are unchained and you do not care, then, I mean, go for it. Wear it in summer, man. Go for it. I'm sure it'll work out just perfect. So Stronger With You powerfully ends up being two things at once. First, it smells amazing. If you like the Stronger With You line, you're gonna like how this smells. It performs like a beast. And at the same time, it is probably the most disappointing new fragrance I've smelled this year. So how does that work? Like what? Really good, great power, disappointing, huh? Look, it's extremely appealing. It's smooth, warm, sexy, it lasts, it's gonna get you noticed, it just works. But it is also really, really, really safe. And look, I'm not trying to say that, oh, it's wearable, therefore it sucks. That's not what I think. What I'm saying is they did not swing for the fences with this, okay? They saw that the bases were loaded and they were like, I'm gonna try to work myself a walk. That's baseball terms. What I mean is they played it safe. When I saw the note breakdown, and I saw that they were leaning into the cherry, it seemed like, oh, they're gonna shake it up, they're gonna go for a drastically different opening, a big blast of fruit that really is different from most everything else out there, that's gonna give it its own identity, so that when you smell it, you go immediately, that's Stronger With You powerfully. You know, something that would really set it apart from the other fragrances in the lineup and give it its own identity, you know? And instead, there's a lot of overlap between this and this and this, and Stronger With You Parfum. And it's similar kind of to what Armani does with Acqua di Gio. I think they're doing a really similar vibe here, where they keep coming out with Acqua di Gios, and by and large, you smell them, and if you're familiar with the Acqua di Gio DNA, you go, oh yeah, it's like another tweak on Acqua di Gio. Cool. That's what they're doing here. It's tweaked. Is it a big change? No, not really. It seems like they're more content making micro tweaks and small changes and living very comfortably within that set DNA instead of really trying to break out. So they know that people like these and they go, okay, well, we want to keep it 90% that. Just make a tiny tweak, a little change. And that's what this is, because the cherry is just not that big of a difference. And as it dries down, sure, you could go, well, it's a little sweeter than this one and a little more grown up than that one, but you know, there starts to be a lot of overlap, is what I'm trying to say. If you already own multiple Stronger With You flankers, multiple Stronger With You fragrances, and you're wondering, is it different enough that I need to own it? The answer is no. If you love Stronger With You and you're gonna get it regardless, you'll be happy because this stuff will pull attention. It will last. It does smell great if you're a fan of the line. If you hate the line, you're not gonna like it most likely. But if you're worrying, is it gonna be too much of an overlap? You know, would I wear it in the exact same times, exact same places, all that stuff? Yes, most likely. All this said, if you own no Stronger with Yous and you're thinking about getting one, this might be the absolute best place to jump off from. Because as I mentioned, it is smooth, it does last, it will get you noticed, it does smell really good. It's just also, to me, a disappointment. So it is the best smelling disappointment in quite some time. I just wish they had tried to push it further, just really try to open things up and get a little more interesting with it. All that said though, it still smells friggin' awesome. Am I gonna wear it? Yes. Am I disappointed at the same time? Yes. So there it is, Stronger with You Powerfully. Again, I'll link it in the description. I think if nothing else, you can put in your email and you know, when they get it in stock, they'll like let you know. And it should pop up at discounters pretty soon as well, I would assume. And even though I am a little disappointed with this one, I would still rather wear it than Intensely. So, I mean, I'm disappointed in you. I am gonna use you though. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.